Hey everybody, this is Lisa, Dr. Lisa Brewer with Heart of Inspiration. And here at this channel, we help you lead a whole and healed, peaceful and prosperous life. And I want to welcome you to, I believe this is episode 22, believe it or not, of the Sunday Soul podcast. Now, each week or just about every week, we come to you and bring you some information about various topics that are, related to spirituality, the soul, with light work, love, all different types of topics we bring to you each and every week. And this week, I'm really excited because this is one of those things, one of those topics or series that we're going to be starting here that's something very near and dear to my heart, because it's one of those, like, let's get into the meat and the potatoes of the hidden or occult, if you will, wisdoms that are ancient wisdoms and that we are just rediscovering and reapplying in this new age, this age of Aquarius, this age of evolution into fifth dimensional living, fifth density living, fifth density reality, as we're moving out of our third density or third dimension current matrix. So we're going to be talking about, over the course of the next few episodes, the 7 Hermetic principles. And I wanted to take this episode here to introduce you to those principles, to introduce you, those of you who are not, familiar with them. But also, I think taking some of these, the more that I discover, the more that I study, the more that I, research the occultic, if you will, all of these Gnostic or hidden or mythological or other options, right, for spirituality. As I begin to investigate and get to know them, the more I see that, honestly, these were all created well before Christianity was. And in fact, the biblical principles that I grew up on and grew up and were near and dear to my heart, in fact, were all based in all of these other ancient wisdoms. So we, as those that are currently living a Christian existence, or, it doesn't matter to me, whatever your religion is, that's fine. I just want us to begin to understand and overstand that these are indeed ancient mysteries, ancient knowledge, ancient wisdoms that, in a great degree, has been watered down in the present presentation, in the Judeo-Christian standard, all right, presentation, not the Gnostic presentation for Christianity, not in the Kabbalah, if you will, for the Jewish traditions, which is then the Jewish mysticism. That's the real meat and potatoes. So the Gnostic Christianity is the real meat and potatoes. But that's where the real power is. So these 7 Hermetic principles, and then I think we'll review the 7 laws of manifestation, because there's not just one. Hello? There's not just one. So we're going to review all of these as we go forward here over the next few weeks to regain and remember some truths, some realities, some of the laws that should be governing that do govern, but if we're acting within these laws, then our energetic existence as we're moving into the fifth dimensional realm and living becomes much simpler, much easier, and it makes a lot more what we would probably call logical sense, right, over the course of time. Now, understanding that fifth dimension has a greater, higher logic than lower dimensions do, but I want us to just, grasp this concept, okay? All right, here we go. I actually have, of course, why would I do anything else? I have prepared for you an actual presentation. So we're going to do the first few of these really quick. Let me bring this up. There we go. All right. The 7 Hermetic principles. Okay, I didn't write them. This is just my take on them, and this is going to be my bringing to you some of the revelations that I've received as we are studying them together. All right, so the 7 Hermetic principles. Now, in case you have no idea where these come from, these are from the teachings of the mysterious initiate Hermes Trismegistus. I have to stop literally and just say that like really so, Trismegistus, because it doesn't just roll off the tongue. Now, what is an initiate? An initiate is one, it's a student. It is one that has been coming past the student of the occult or the hidden and ancient wisdoms, and then becomes a teacher thereof. Okay, they are initiated into this collective consciousness, or this collective group of folks that are teaching the ancient wisdoms. Okay, so it's from the mysterious initiate. Why is he so mysterious? Well, some say he's Thoth, right? Some say he's Hermes. Some say he is shown up in different realities and different cultures throughout the ages as a different how can I put this? Gosh, a different presentation, a different avatar. So he's mysterious because no one really knows when he was born. No one knows when he, it's like, well, who is he? Where did he come from? So he's a mysterious initiate. There's not a lot known about him, but we are very grateful for the teachings. Hermes, so some believe he was the god Hermes. Hermes is most closely associated with the god Hermes, the god Mercury, right? So Hermes is an individual. Hermes as an individual is most closely associated with the god Mercury. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, okay? So Mercury is sometimes called like the messenger of the sun. Mercury takes 84 days for it to circle around and for it to get all around the sun, one complete orbital cycle. It's always it's always closest to the source energy, always closest to that initiator, always closest to the source of life and everything else, right? So this is source information. That's what I get from these Hermetic principles. This is source information. The 7 Hermetic principles gives us 7 laws of energy in relation to the universe and creation. There's 7 laws of manifestation, right? There's not just one. There's law of attraction. There's 7 laws actually of attraction. There's 7 laws of energy as it relates to creation. There are laws of physics and how physical, third-dimensional objects or slow-moving energy must behave within the confines of this construct. So these Hermetic principles, this information directly from the sun, from source itself, this is the understanding we have. This is from source itself. Themselves, itself, however you wish to choose to refer to source. These are 7 laws of how energy and how we relate to it and how it relates to us in this entire universe, and then for creation itself. Okay? So this is why it's very important as we're on our light worker journey, there has to come a point, I believe, where you as a light worker, if you're wishing to get to that next level, you got to understand these 7 Hermetic principles and have them, you relate to them as is authentic to you. Okay? So before I get into any of the 7, though, there's the highest law in creation. We need to know the main law. The highest law in creation is the law of love. Basically, love triumphs all. Love has created. If we refer back to, I'm going to start referring a lot back to the Bible, right? God is love in the Bible. God is love. So we're, and right, love created the world. So that energy or a creative ability of love triumphs everything. Love creates out of nothing. Love takes nothing. Love takes chaos and creates order. Love takes anarchy and creates law, if you will, and structure. Love can bring you through the darkest time and shine light and be a beacon of hope and joy and restoration. Love is. Okay, love is the highest, most powerful frequency, energy, if you will, of them all. It created all, and without it, nothing was created. Now, what is beyond that? What is beyond all creation? Well, according to Hermes, agnostos theos, the unknowable divinity, beyond all words and concepts. The unknowable divinity, beyond all words and concepts, agnostos theos. That gives the sense of plurality, yes? So it's very difficult in a monotheistic religious structure to comprehend the breadth, the width, the depth, the vastness of source energy. So we have to say, right, agnostos theos, there's a multiplicity of this energy. There is an indescribability of this energy. This is an energy that one in your physical realm, your physical self, your physical avatar cannot possibly truly know. It's certainly in the third dimensional realm. We would have no way of truly knowing this. And by knowing, I take that in more of a biblical sense of this intimate knowledge, but also third dimensional knowledge. We can't comprehend it. This is why there was multiple there was multiple gods and goddesses in practically every other until recent history. There's multiples, right? And even there's some people that say, honestly, Christianity, depending upon what, where you're at, that it is monotheist. I mean, it is plural, right? Multi-God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, triune, but we'll deal with that another time. But it is virtually impossible to describe or understand or understand all of the attributes of source energy if you just dwell the, structure, filter it down to just one. Even the one God has multiple names and then has no name. So even in Judaism, yes, there is no utterable name for God. And in fact, when you write in Hebrew, if you write Yod, and actually try to spell it out, the middle letter is a line. It is never written. Even when they write God, they write a line where the zero is. Where the O is. You cannot, there is no knowable name. There is no understandable name for source energy. But there is this source energy beyond creation. So something, or there is an energy that is beyond creation that then utilizes love to create. And we come from what is beyond creation. We are an offshoot of, or a portion of, an aspect of what is beyond creation and what is unknowable to us here in this current iteration of ourselves. Okay, what I wanted to do as before we get into the actual 7 principles, because we're going to dive deep into those 7 principles over the next few weeks, because I really feel that we've got to understand this as part of our soul work. Let's take some opening quotes from the Kybalion. Now, the Kybalion was written, and it's an exposition of the Hermetic principles, on the Hermetic principles, that was written in 1908. Okay, the pseudonym, or the writing name, was the 3 Initiates for the gentleman that then did this exposition. So, but this is from the Kybalion. Excuse me. The possession of knowledge, unless accompanied by a manifestation and expression in action, is like the hoarding of precious metals. Now I'm going to take that little part there, because when I read that, do you know what I heard, or what I then translated? Faith without works is dead. The whole concept of the Hermetic principles and how we implement them into our world is we understand the laws, and you'll see in a moment, the master of the laws of energy understands that one must sometimes pit one against another, and which one is stronger and which one is weaker, as we then begin the transmutation process. So as I'm reading this, I'm like, wait a minute, the possession of knowledge, because when you have knowledge of something and you possess the knowledge, and the possession of knowledge is power. Once you know something, once it is within you, once it is integrated within you, you can then utilize that energy and then to do other things with it. But if you possess a lot of knowledge and have a lot of knowledge, and then you don't do a blessed thing with it, you don't manifest anything with it, you don't express it, you don't do anything, what is the point? It's not going to do you a stinking bit of good. And it's not going to do the world or humanity good. The possession of knowledge, unless accompanied by a manifestation and expression in action, is like the hoarding of precious metals, a vain and foolish thing. Knowledge, like wealth, is intended for use. So if you have been sitting here for the last 6 months, 2 years, 1 year, 3 years, 10 years, gathering information, watching all these YouTube videos, watching all these wonderful Instagram, folks that have IGTV and all this, maybe you subscribe to God knows whose app and this, that, and the other, and you're getting readings and Akashic record readings and galactic record readings and past life regressions and all of this stuff. And you've got all of these books and you're doing all of these things and all of these crystals. And yet you really aren't, all you're doing is, that's great that you're getting all this information. Please don't get me wrong. Please don't get me wrong that it's awesome you're getting the information and you're gaining the knowledge. But knowledge, like wealth, is intended for use. The law of use is universal. It's contained within the word. And he who violates it suffers by reason of his conflict with natural forces. So basically, there was a saying in the church we used to have. If God can't get it through you, he won't get it to you. And we typically said that in regard to money. But I'm going to say money like wealth, knowledge like wealth, is intended for use. All that you're gaining, all of the in all your learning, right? right? In all of the learning, you're supposed to gain wisdom, you're supposed to gain understanding. This isn't for nothing. That's another biblical principle as well. This is all, it's for use. You're not supposed to just hoard it and just sit there with it, because you might be a little bit uncomfortable, beloved, because you don't want to put yourself out there. You really don't have a choice in the matter. The law of use is universal, and he who violates it suffers by reason of his conflict with natural forces. The truly wise, knowing the nature of the universe, uses law against laws. The truly wise will take all of this information, because it knows the nature of the universe is to use the knowledge like wealth, because it is truly power, and it is truly, how can I put this, valuable. Uses law against laws, the higher against the lower, and by the art of alchemy, transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy. Let me wrap that one up for you. Beauty for ashes, anyone? All this transmutation and reintegration and all of this. This is why when we do our shadow work, we use the art of alchemy. We truly use energetic alchemy, and we transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy. We take our ashes and we create beauty. We rise like the phoenix. All of the shadow work, the hurt, the pain, the this, the that, the trauma, all of that, we take all of that energy and we alchemize it, knowing, because being truly wise, knowing that love is the greatest of them all, the highest law, the law of love. Love can transcend and transmute and heal all. Love triumphs. Yes? And it is in the learning of this, using law against law, and we'll get into the 7, and it'll make even more sense then. You take that which is undesirable and transmute it into that which is worthy, and then thus triumph. Mastery consists then not in abnormal dreams. So just because you can dream, just because you have visions, and just because you have premonitions or fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower. So just because you're having visions and dreams, this is, can I just talk to you for a second? Just for 1 minute. Just for 1 minute. Let me just wrap a taste. Just for 1 second here. Okay. I have a lot of people that come to me on a regular basis. A lot of light workers. I've worked with a lot of people all across this country, all across this world, really, and for years and years, and continue to do so. And they'll tell me that they're having these fantastical dreams, and they're astral traveling, and they're astral projecting, and they see all this, they hear all this, and they're seeing angels, just, I mean, it's just wonderful. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Yeah. However, life is still in a shambles. However, they're still unable to do their work. However, they're still unable to manifest the life that they so desire and they know that they deserve. However, they're unable to step into their purpose, let alone even identify their purpose. And so you can have, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but if I do not have love, I have nothing. Love is the highest law. If you're not operating in love and light in every area of your life, If you are not doing the work, the shadow work, and having the reality check with yourself, that it is a continual process. It does not start and end, and then it's over until we transition out of here. I hate to break it to you, but we're going to be here. We're going to be doing it. We're going to be dealing with shadow work as long as we're here. There's roots and there's chunks and there's things that we can get out. But it doesn't matter how well your crown chakra and your third eye chakra are developed. I work with a number of people whose crowns and third eyes are just off the charts. Off the charts. They can see into the next 20 dimensions, right? The next 20 universes. But their life is a mess. And that's because it doesn't matter. Mastery of self and mastery of energy and mastery of the energy and the laws and being a master of the laws of the universe and creation is not based on how well you can see into the spirit realm. That has very little, if nothing, to do with it. And everything to do with have you mastered these other laws, okay? Are you a master of understanding that the higher laws then govern and can be utilized in order to overcome or triumph over the lower energies? All right, here we go. Mastery consists not in abnormal dreams, visions, and fantastic imaginings or living, but in using the higher forces against the lower, escaping the pains of the lower planes. Escaping the pains, that's painful, right? The shadow work. Escaping the pains of the lower planes by vibrating on the higher. Why do we talk about vibrating at a higher frequency? You don't have to live in the pain of your trauma. But you do need to transmute that energy into something else. Because the energy lives in your cellular and energetic being. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial, is the weapon of the master. Transmutation, not presumptuous denial. In other words, you cannot walk around saying that simply because you astral travel and you do this and you do that and you're a medium and you're this and you're that you're somehow then now all healed and fine and there ain't nothing wrong with you and we ain't got to worry about it. You got no shadow work to do. Hello? That's called presumptuous denial. You bet you have some things to transmute. And let me tell you something. From me to